Well, it's back to the 2-year-olds looking for some Derby horses. It's the 28th running of the 1 mile Grade 3 $100,000 Iroquois. I think last year it was actually $150,000, but if you remember, also last year's winner, Court Visions, actually turned out to be a strong turf horse. Came off of the poly track on his first 2 starts to win this race from last to first on his first try on dirt. But going through these horses, you can start with the 1 Casey's Call, who at Keeneland works like a banshee. 3 sub 1 minute works, or I'm sorry, 4 sub 1 minute works on the poly track, including a 58 and 2 at Arlington Park, going back to September, beginning of September. And then the first work on the dirt at Churchill was 102. I don't know if it's because of the surface or if this horse is showing as it's moving up here, it doesn't like the dirt. But at 5-1, this horse has got two victories from 2 starts, including a win in his last start at Keeneland, 122 and 3 for 7 furlongs, in a $45,000 allowance for non-winners of 2 lifetime. And those are usually very competitive and good races, as some of those horses have come out with multiple wins under particular conditions. And with the early speed, there's a chance that this horse can be the only pace setter. If that is the case, at 5-1, Casey On Call is a good play, in my opinion. Horse is cheap, but look at the trainer's win percentage, 2008, 37% winners. So based on a certain pace scenario, I do like the 1 at 5-1 if he can get out to a early lead. The 2 Captain Candyman Can, with one of my favorite jockeys, Julien Leperreau, is up. He's a beaten favorite, first time Lasix, a 2-1 Candy Ride, gelding, who put in a really good work on October 20th of 1 minute in a breezing work at Churchill Downs. The last race was on the poly. First maiden victory was on conventional dirt. He was 19-1 that day. Came back at 2-1, beaten favorite. But he looks to be a pretty solid horse, and was beaten in the Arlington Washington Futurity, which is always a very good race and has produced multiple horses on the Derby Trail. I did watch that race, and he was in a lot of traffic at the top of the stretch, so could be something to a horse to play. But at 2-1, he's probably going to be on my ticket, but probably not on top. Then you come to the favorite, Brave Victory, with Kentis Ormo. You follow the money in these 2-year-old races, and this horse was purchased for 10 times his stud fee at $200,000. So he was a $200,000 purchase, and his first 2 races were very impressive. Most impressive race to me was the August 25th race at Saratoga. A very strong race, beat 2 horses that won their next time out, and he ended up running second in that race, and came back and broke his maiden by 7 1/4 lengths. Saratoga was his first 2 maidens, and he broke his maiden at Belmont. And then they put him in the Grade 1, and it looked like they set him back and wanted him to come off the pace. He may be a horse that needs to be forwardly placed. If that is the case with Nick Zito, and they put him in the right spot, he could be the pace contesting Casey On Call, which would probably knock out Casey On Call based on class alone. Brings us to the 4 Gresham, another horse coming out of 2 races on the poly, 1 at Arlington Park and 1 at Turfway Park. Both races were good competitive races. This is blinkers on for the first time, and this is a Seeking the Gold horse out of an AP Indy mare. So based at 12-1, based on class, horse that you might want to take a look at. I will say that the last race he was beaten 3 lengths, mile and a 16th, and he was only carrying 114 pounds, and just kind of seemed to stall out in the stretch. The 5-horse Star of David at 8-1 in the morning line. I do like this horse. He has a turf pedigree. However, he Like I said, last year's horse, Court Vision, won this race and has a turf pedigree and is a turf runner. This horse broke his maiden at Churchill Downs at 5 furlongs, 58-2. Then they sent him up to Woodbine, and he hasn't performed that great, although he has hit the board in his last two, one of which was on a yielding turf course. But he seems to be beaten soundly by the horses he's getting beaten. But again, if you're going to follow the money here, you have Zayat Stables with a $220,000 Keeneland September 07 purchase. So, and Steve Asmussen trained colt. So we follow the money, he's on the ticket too. Then we come to the 6, our closer in the group, Monty's Best. I kind of like this horse, 6-1, another Woodbine colt. He was also purchased for 10 times his stud fee. His purchase price was $100,000. His last 2 races he's carried the weight, while against maidens, both of his races were very good, and he's going to be a decent price. Now, we'll see how he likes the dirt. He's never even had a workout on the dirt. That's a big question mark with these damn poly tracks. The 7 horse at 20-1 is the most seasoned horse in the field. He's a cheap horse. He's earned $56,000 from 12 starts, and he's raced in 2 graded races, finishing 5th, beaten only 2.5, and 4th, beaten 9.5. He's always at long odds, and he seems to close into the race. So if we're looking at a fast pace in this race, if the 1 and the 3 get hooked up and they go fast, just like a biscuit can come in for a piece of the action late on your trifecta play. And Chillness, the 8 horse, had a very good performance at River Downs August 9th in a $25,000 non-conditioned allowance. He was 54-1 that day and was driving home carrying 116 pounds. Then they put him in the Cradle, which is a big stakes race here in Ohio. He was beaten 7 lengths. And they brought him to the Sunday Silence, where he finished in the middle of the pack, 5 lengths back. Again, another horse that likes to close into the pack, so he may be able to get on the ticket 3rd or 4th. So as I go through this race, the top horse in my calculations based on rank is Brave Victory, coming out of a grade 1. The top horse working into this race is Casey's On Call and Captain Candyman. You want to follow the money, you have to look to Star of David, Just Like Biscuit, although Just Like Biscuit has raced in 12 races, and Brave Victory. But these horses have all earned right between 30 and 60,000. And if you look at the money these horses cost, you're looking at Star of David, Brave Victory, Monty's Best, and Gresham are the class from that angle. So, you know, as I said before, if I was handicapped, I'm going to be playing this race, which I'm not. I would look at it from 2 angles. One, I would put Casey's On Call on top of a few horses, as you know, hopefully he can get out and be the pace setter on an uncontested lead at 5-1. I would imagine his odds are actually going to be higher than that. So that's how I would play that. And then if you want to play it with the closers coming in, closing into a fast pace that's possibly set by Casey's On Call and Brave Victory, I'd look at the 6 as a long shot play, with the 7 and 8 running 3rd or 4th on 10-cent supers, or your superfecta play. And then if you wanted to key the 3 on top, because based on that horse's class, it's very understandable coming out of a grade 1, and the horses that Vineyard Haven is probably one of the top 2-year-olds going right now. So my long shot play here is Casey's On Call, wire to wire, but I think that the class will prevail in this race, and Brave Victory will be successful. So you know, play a bet with Casey's On Call on top of a couple of horses, and then also key the 3 on top of the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's how I would play the Iroquois.